because, they're going to need us out on the ODAs or out in austere little camps and stuff like that. They're going to need a mechanic who has a good head on his shoulders. They're going to need the commo guy. They're going to need, all of that. So it's not uncommon for us to train side by side on stuff like that. Yeah. And I made friends with some of the team guys that were new, and then I used that as an excuse to show up to like team rooms and kind of work my magic a little bit and be like, hey, is Joe in? I just wanted to see how Joe was doing. And then Joe would be like, hey, Cheeks, what's going on, man? Having a nickname like Cheeks is like easy. It really was a blessing early on. I got Cheeks my last name's Agilian, and it's not pronounced the way it's spelled. And so when I was in basic training, it was like week 0 or something, but it was like me and another Filipino guy. His last name is Aguilar. And then it was like 2 of my Hispanic brothers and then like a couple white guys, and we're all just sitting in this little circle, and we still had like we called them our mushroom suits. So there was the old Army PTs. They hadn't transitioned to the new ones fully yet. So there's the gray sweats that said Army on them and stuff. Yeah. Hated them. They were the worst. We threw them away the first chance we got. I wish I would have kept mine now that I think about it, but yeah, we threw them away the first chance we got. And it was like nickname day, I guess. And we're all just sitting around in the bay, and they were like looking at my name tape, and they're like, yeah, Cheeks. And I was like, cool. Yeah, that's like a cool nickname. And so that just carried on through basic training and AIT, and like all my drill sergeants would call me Cheeks and stuff like that. And, the occasional random drill sergeant, are you okay, soldier? Why's your face so red? I'm just always like this drill sergeant, So having a nickname like Cheeks is a really great icebreaker. And so, I'd be at the team room door. Hey, Cheeks, come on in, man, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. What are you guys working on? And, eventually you build that rapport with these team guys. And, like in the odd event that they need to schedule the chapel for some training or something like that. But those are little families, and it's really challenging initially to what they call a value add, right? You have to kind of make yourself like necessary to them. And, it was really cool. I usually tell people it's obviously something I'm very proud of to say that I got assigned to 2nd Battalion for a Special Forces group, that I worked with those guys, that I did my first deployment with those guys. But it's the guys that keep in touch that really are what matter to me. Not that anyone owes me that, but to me, that's like that's the indicator that I was good at what I did, that guys would bother to remember me or to keep in touch with me, still call me brother, stuff like that. So I did my first deployment with them in 2010, went to Afghanistan. We were based out of Camp Brown, which is the Special Operations Task Force for Kandahar Airfield at the time. Yeah. And some shenanigans there. It's where I fell in love with, we'll call it the Commonwealth at large. Brits, Australians, Canadians, the Scots, the Irish, any of the Commonwealthers that I could interact with. I thought they were just fantastic, fabulous people. I spent a lot of time at the British PX coffee tea area. It's called the NAFI. Yeah. And I made a lot of British friends and stuff like that. Still keep in touch with them. I would sneak out to go hang out with them at the end of the day, because like I said, I didn't have a really good relationship with my chaplain, and so I would sometimes create work for myself to be away from him. But so I did my first deployment with them, and then admittedly got in a little bit of trouble. I was a little unsavory, and got reassigned from 2nd Battalion, 1st Group to 1st Squadron, 14th Cav. 3rd Striker Brigade, 2nd Infantry Division. And I went to them like in my dwell time after my first deployment in between. And so I had just gone to JRTC for the 2nd time with group, and technically I was like approved to go back to a deployment if I was supposed to. Yeah. So I got in trouble, and I had basically gotten referred to the post chaplain assistant for Fort Lewis, Joint Base Lewis McChord. And so he was Sergeant Major Sina Diaz. I think that was he. There's 2 sergeant majors I ended up interacting with at the post level, but he was basically like, hey, Cheeks, check it out. People had worked with me before on Joint Base Lewis McCord, so I knew, and Chaplain Assistant is like a small community. There's only one of us per battalion.
Yeah.
So we get to know each other on post and stuff like that. So people had worked with me before, and he goes, listen, like, just from asking around other people on post, other chaplain assistants, like, it seems like you're a good dude. You just made a bad decision. Mm-hmm. So he's like, we're going to get you put in this artillery unit. They're not going anywhere. Get your head on straight. We'll get you, if you need some counseling or whatever, get you some counseling. But, we're going to stick you over here for now. And we'll get you back to doing good things and working for, doing what you're doing best, being a good soldier. I was like, roger that, blah, blah, blah. Literally a week later, I think I was like out at the range or something. And he called me on my cell phone and he goes, hey, Cheeks, Sergeant Major, blah, blah, blah. It came, his name came up. So I stepped away and I said, hey, Sergeant Major, how you doing? And he goes, I'm sorry. I really tried to avoid doing this to you. It's a chaplain assistant for this cavalry squadron that can't deploy because he's the sole surviving male heir. So it's like the Saving Private Ryan situation almost, right? So he goes, I can't deploy him now, basically, because he had a death in the family. So I need you to go back to Afghanistan. And I was like, ugh. I've only been back by 8 months, I think, at this point. And so I ended up I got assigned to 1st Squadron, 14th Cavalry Regiment. I had spent the entirety of my career, so pretty much 4.5 years in Special Operations at this point. Special Operations Army, regular Army are two fairly significantly different entities, right? And so cavalry, I wouldn't say was particularly like intense, the transition. But I was a little nervous because, I had grown up with like relaxed haircut and like cuffed sleeves, hands in my pockets a lot of the time, talking to E7s, being like, hey, bro, dude, it's stuff that regular Army guys hate. But, and so I move over to Cav and it's like, gotta be on your P's and Q's. You're already coming over here because you're in trouble, right? So, funny enough, I had to interview with the brigade chaplain, and basically he wanted to know, why are you being transferred here?